Silver Purchase Act in 1893. Now it lasted through the First World War. Even outlasted through the Great Depression and the abandonment of the original railroad. The Hall Tunnel finally closed its doors in March of 1942. Now, I'm not sure about anybody else here on board the train today, but there are times where I wish that my bad luck would pan out this way. In just a moment, if you guys look off the left-hand side of our train and down the hill a ways, you might be able to see a set of train tracks down below. We began our journey earlier on those tracks, and we'll be on them again here in just a few moments. For those of you who are not familiar with the story of the Georgetown Loop, it was a surveyor's answer of connecting the two towns of Georgetown and Silver Plume by rail. On paper, this should have been simple, since the two towns are only 2 miles apart from each other. The challenge lies in the different elevation by about 600 feet. If they were to lay the tracks straight through this valley floor, it would have had a grade that exceeded 6%, which is far too steep for an old railroad operation. So to reduce the grade, the surveyors came out with a track plan that had doubled back and looped over the top of itself, much like a spiral staircase, reducing the grade to an average of about 3.5%, but it did increase the distance between the two towns to about 4.5 miles by rail. Now, at the time the Georgetown Loop was completed, there were only 4 or 5 other railroads in the entire world that used the loop as a means of gaining elevation. In all cases except ours, the lower level of track was buried via a tunnel that went through the mountainside, whereas in our case, everything is out visible to the open world, thanks to the magnificent and spectacular Devil's Gate High Bridge. Up along the left-hand side of our train, you might see a white post with the number 52 on it. No, that's not our speed limit out here, but it's here at this spot. There are 52 miles by rail down to downtown Denver and into Denver's Union Station. Speaking of that high bridge, that warning signal you just heard, it means we're about to cross out onto our world famous high bridge once again. For those of you on board the train with a fear of heights, I do have a small solution for you. If you look on the floor of the car you're sitting in, you might find a small pebble. I want you to pick this pebble up and focus on it. Maybe roll it between your fingers just a little bit. And just then you'll start to realize that you're feeling a little bolder. Yeah, I heard all the moans and groans on that one, but don't worry, like our train, these jokes only go downhill from here. This bridge is quite unique, you know, it's 300 feet across. It's the same length as an American football field. Although this bridge might look level, we're on a grade of 2%. And the side that we started out on is 6 feet higher in elevation compared to the side where we come off at. It also curves in at 19.5 degrees. Most bridges built during this time were built straight and level, all pertain structural integrity. For those of you on board the train with that fear of heights, don't look down, because here in the middle of the bridge, it will be 100 feet above Clear Creek and 75 feet above the lower level of traffic. But up on the right-hand side of the train, we get an amazing view of the town of Georgetown, which has the highest per capita here in the United States of Victorian-era built buildings and homes. Our locomotive or horse on today's train is the Georgetown Loop Railroad's number 111. 111 was built by the Bowman Locomotive Works in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in May of 1926, making this locomotive at 97 years old. 111 is known as a 280 consolidation type wood-fired steam locomotive. She began her career on the international railways of Central America, down in Guatemala and El Salvador, hauling sugarcane and bananas in the occasional passenger train. She made her way back to the United States in the 1970s and was on display at Breckenridge for some amount of time when the Georgetown Loop Railroad took interest in acquiring this locomotive for restoration operation. In August of 2016, after sitting docile for almost 50 years, Locomotive 111 rolled out of our Silver Plume engine house under her own power for the first time in almost 50 years. Now here in just a moment, we're going to hear the most recognizable warning signal in American railroading. 2 longs, 1 short, and another another one. This is the standard railroad grade crossing signal here in the United States, but it's also Morse code for the letter Q. You might be wondering, what does the letter Q have to do with railroading? Well, the answer is not much. This signal dates back to Victoria-era England, for with trains and ships hauling Queen Victoria on board will sound off the letter Q, warning any other train or vessel in the area they had the Queen of England on board, and therefore they had the right of way. We adopted this signal here in the United States, not to signify a monarchy, but because trains always have the right of way at railroad crossings. So the next time you hear this signal, please make sure you stop, look, and listen, because that train will not be stopping for you. By the way, they play the whistle. Each engineer will play it a little differently, their own cut, if you will. But judging by the cut on the whistle, I can tell you that our engineer today is Christian. Our train is now crossing over Clear Creek for the fourth and final time on our descent from Silver Plume. We've come a little over a mile from where we left it at our Silver Plume depot, but in order for us to get down here, we've had to use about 3.5 miles of track. We've also descended in elevation by about 563 feet. Now with that fourth and final crossing of Clear Creek, I do have some rather unfortunate news to tell you folks. This does mean that our train ride is unfortunately about to come to a close. From all of us here at the Georgetown Loop, we'd like to thank all of you guys for coming out and riding with us today. We hope the trip with us was a memorable one as well as an enjoyable one. From us at the Georgetown Loop and the State Patrol, here's all of you guys to drive safely as you continue about your journeys and on your ways home. Now at this time, I do recommend to everybody who's taking a good look around them to make sure you've got all your personal belongings. Anything worth of value left on board the train today will be divided up amongst the train crew. Now, parents of young children, I urge you to keep a sharp eye on your little ones. But don't worry if you leave any of them behind. They'll enjoy their new job on the railroad so much they don't want to come home. Actually, speaking from experience on this, that's how I got my job out here. If anyone's seen my mom, please tell her I said hi and that I miss her dearly. As we pull into our station, I do want to ask everyone, please make sure you've got a good and safe spot to sit down. Our starts and stops can be a little bumpy at times, and I don't want to see any of you guys falling on your faces today. I'll let everybody know when it's safe to disembark the train when I say the ramps are down and the brakes are set. With all this being said, folks, welcome back to Devil's Gate Station in Georgetown, Colorado. Elevation 8,615 feet above sea level. Alrighty folks, the ramps are down and the brakes are set. We've also turned off the fasten the seatbelt sign, so you're free to move about the train now. Once again, from all of us here at the Georgetown Loop, we'd like to thank all of you guys for coming out and riding with us today. We hope to see you guys again here soon.